Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. This is a very sad week in some ways for us in Congregation or Torah. Three major families are leaving our shul, and we're going to miss them greatly. All of them had a big impact on the shul, the community, and me personally. And I do mean the Weitzelbaum-Berger family, the Balzer family, and the Mandel family. And we are sorely going to miss them. But before I get into that, I'm going to give a little bit of Devar Torah and then show you a little video that you better get your tissues ready for that Devar Torah. Very, very powerful for that video. It's a very, very powerful video. And then we'll talk a little bit about the families as well. This week's parsha, we're introduced to Noach again. Now, we saw Noach in the last week's parsha. And you start to wonder what happened to the world that in 5 chapters, right, after 5 chapters, already God had it with the world that is destroying everything. Like it was a failed experiment. It was unbelievable what could have happened, that everything went such awry in 5 chapters. And we start off really in Parshas Bereshis. We were told that Hashem blessed the world, that the world should be fruitful and people should be fruitful. And then at the end of the parsha, we already told about Noach and the destruction of the world. So we have 2 different versions of the story. We have last week's discussion, which is has much more emotion to it, that last discussion, and you should compare, and that's what I was going to do during the parsha share this week, is compare the different versions of the story within the Torah. But if you look at the version that we have in Noach versus the one that we had previously, but the overall question is what happened to people and how do we remedy it? Like, what is the end result of this? Why is God not going to be able to destroy the world again? And when we start looking at the problems that the people had, it really came down to the fact that the way they treated each other. That's really what it came down to. And people were corrupt, and they stole, and they didn't care about one another. It was a dog-eat-dog world. That's all it was. And so what God does is God shows us Abraham. What's special about Abraham? Because Noach was saved. But Hashem built the world on Abraham. And what did Abraham do to make that he's worthy of this? He worried about each interaction that he had with people, that every single interaction should be a good interaction. And that's why he gathered a following. And even then during bad times, when people went away from him, he still brought these people back and eventually was able to build a nation. And we have to be worried about every single interaction that we have with another individual and how that interaction not only affects the other individual, but what does it do for us? How does that change us? So here, I'd like you to watch this 2-minute video. It's so powerful. Get your tissues ready. It's a powerful video. And then after the video, I'd like to talk about some people in our community who were losing, who had a big impact within the community.
ניר, אני רוצה להגיד לך, לפני שאתה שובר את הכוס, יש לך קלה מיוחדת. אני אספר לכם סיפור הזוי. אני ושחר הכרנו לפני 10 שנים, בערב בהיר כזה, ככה בדיוק. אני הכרתי את שחר אחרי שמתה. אני לא יודע אם כולם יודעים, אבל שחר ב-2009 עברה תאונה קשה. ונסענו לתאונה 2 ניידות טיפול נמרץ. הניידת הראשונה הגיעה והיה רופא בניידת. ושהגעתי אחרי 2 דקות, הרופא אומר לי, הפצועה הזו אל תיגע בה, מבחינתי קבעתי מוות, בוא נטפל בנהג. אמרתי לו בסדר, תטפל בנהג. ונשארתי על שחר מלמעלה. מה שהוא אמר לי, צריך לטפל בשחר. ושהגעתי לשחר, שחר הייתה עם דום לב. לפי הפרוטוקול הרופא צודק, צריך לקבוע מוות. אבל משהו מלמעלה אמר לי לא, אתה צריך ללחם עליה. ביצעתי החייאה על שחר בערך 40 דקות שהייתה בתוך הרכב לקודה. והמשטרה כבר הודיעו ברדיו שיש הרוגה בתאונה, וההורים של שחר שמעו את הבשורה המרה הזו בדרך מהצפון, והמשכנו החייאה בפינוי לבית חולים, ובכניסה לבית חולים שחר החזירה פעימה, הלב שלה התחיל לפעום. אני רוצה להגיד לכם, באותה לילה חזרתי הביתה, לא היה לי תקווה, שמתי ראש על הכרית, חשבתי לשנייה שמלאך המוות אולי ינצח אותי, אבל ידעתי שאם ינצח אותי עשיתי את כל מה שאני יכול לעשות, ובסוף לא מנצחים אותו, אבל אני עשיתי כנראה את מה שהייתי צריך לעשות, והנה שחר איתנו. אז אני פה בשביל להגיד לשחר תודה. בדרך כלל מי שאנחנו מצילים אותם אומרים תודה, אני רוצה להגיד לך תודה, ואני אגיד לך למה. שואלים אותי תמיד, איך אתה מחזיק מעמד אחרי כל כך הרבה מוות בעבודה שלך? התשובה היא פה. שחר, אני מחזיק מעמד בגללך, כי אני הצלתי לך את הגוף, את הצלת לי את הנפש. אני כל פעם שאני נזכר במקרים שנתקלתי בהם, אני נזכר בך ובחיוך שלך. אז תודה, 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 מזל טוב, אוהב אתכם.
That video was so powerful. The way he thanked her for being able to save her and what it did to him. And that's really what all chesed is about. It's the way it changes us. How Avram was changed through the chesed, through fighting for Sodom, through all his different interactions, how it changed him as a person, it changed his family, and it created the Jewish people. And the people that we have in our community go out above and beyond so many ways. It ends up changing them, and it ends up changing the community. Every time they do things, every little small act of chesed, every time we go out of our way for others, it helps build the community. So I'd like to first start off saying to the Weichselbaum Burger family. I put stuff in the newsletter for each of the different families. So we'll start off with Weichselbaum Burgers, and then I put us in the Kotel because they're making Aliyah. The dream that we all have is to be in Israel. Every time somebody leaves our community for Israel, I'm like, that's really what we're pushing them to do. We want people to go and make Aliyah. We're going to miss them terribly. They are so involved in every aspect of the school, shul, and the community. Ilya was the 10th man today in the minyan. If we didn't have Ilya next week, we're not going to struggle for a minyan to that night. But it's every little thing that they do. But it's more than what they do. It's the people that they are. They were people of chesed. And we could say that of every single one of the families who are leaving us, the Balzer family, Mandels, they were all about chesed. Every single action they do. Every time we needed something in the kitchen, the Balzers were there. Programming for kids, the Balzers were there. The Mandels, also, I called on Micha and Giti for different things, and they were always there to help. It's those types of interactions that you have, the ways that you work with each other. It not only helps build the community, which it does so much, and we all are thankful for it, but it also helps build those individuals. And I think that some of those interactions, when they came here, when the Weichselbaum Burgers came here, and they built their family from the start, did they ever dream that most of their children would go end up in Israel and follow a certain path? But those are the types of things that when you start getting involved and you start showing lessons, and then one leads to another, one thing leads to another, that's what ends up building a person and helping them through their decisions. So for all the families, Weichselbaum Burgers, the Balzers, the Mandels, we're going to miss you so much. We hope that you keep in touch with us within the community, and we'll never forget the lessons and the impact that you had on us. Have a great Shabbos, everybody.